Hi everybody, welcome back to the shop. And yesterday I block sanded this bed panel down, and I found a few low spots, so I went back and put a little body filler on. Actually, I just used some body filler to fill in some pinholes. Probably shouldn't have done that, but had a couple low spots on the top of the bed, but the main ones was right in this area. And it took about an hour and a half of steady sanding on this thing to get it down to where it needed to be. You can see a lot of places where it had to go down through the body filler to get it where it needed to be. So that's what you want to see. You know, you're gonna have high spots in body filler. And here is just where I had ended the body filler, didn't bring it out far enough. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just knock this down right quick with 80, and then I'll fine sand it down to get it where it needs to be with 180 with my block. And I still got to do this one, but the only reason I sprayed guide coat on that was to just make sure I sanded everywhere, didn't miss anything. I'm not really worried about that one. I'm just going to sand it with whatever I got, maybe 400 or whatever, with the little DA, as much as I can with the DA, and then I might do some hand sanding around all these contours. That was really a pain. I almost didn't want to prime that one, but I figured what the heck, go ahead and prime it and then seal it and be done with it. So I guess really the worst part of this one was probably around these inside this wheel well. That was really a pain. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and knock this down with the DA, and then we'll come back, throw a little guide coat on it, and block it out and show you what it looks like. Alright everybody, after about an hour, I got this one sanded. I flipped it over. I've got to sand that side to get ready to do the same thing with it. And I've got this block sanded. I found some pinholes. I went back and filled a bunch of them. You can see, but I missed a bunch right in here. So I went back and putted that back over. But, this body filler's getting a lot of pinholes. I ended up sanding most of this back off. And I had a little bad spot in the Dynaglass right here. I ended up having to dig out a little chunk that was, I guess one of the fibers was sticking out. It wouldn't break off, so I had to go back and fill that in. Got this all sanded smooth, ready now to clean it off good. I'm going to go ahead and hit some etching primer on these bare metal spots, and then I'll come back and I'll probably just go ahead and prime the whole thing again, and then I can wet sand it, because if I just spot prime it, some of this up in here might be a little thin to wet sand. That wet sand does tend to take a lot of primer with it. So I'll wait on that. It's probably going to be Sunday before I can get to that. You can see I had a good bit of high spots in here trying to knock this down. And hopefully, that Dynaglass is rough. There's another spot I just found with my fingernail. Little fiber sticking out right there. I'm not sure I'd use Dynaglass on. Well, the reason I used that was in that weld area right there. Oh, I did went ahead and tapered this off right here. You remember it was too much thicker. I went ahead and tapered it down. So it kind of looked a little better. Of course, I never really noticed it on the truck, but I knew it was there, so it's kind of aggravating to me. All right, everybody, today is Sunday. I was hoping to do some painting outside, but the wind's blowing about 15 miles an hour out there today. So I've got the header panel hung up. Just run a little threaded rod through there and hung it with some, some wire. And this will just get epoxy primer on it, on both sides. One reason I hadn't really worried about this bare metal epoxy primer is will cover on bare metal fine. So this will be the exterior side, so it'll get the blue paint and the clear coat. And I'll probably go ahead and bring the blue paint all the way over to here, somewhere in this area, and clear coat. And the rest of this will just be bed liner. I'm not going to worry about wasting blue paint on it. We'll have to get scuffed up for the bed liner. And I think I finally got this thing ready for a final coat of primer. Had a little bit of issue in this area right here where all the red stuff is, the glazing compound. It's just Dynaglass has some defects in it, and so it took a little bit to get that smoothed out, and it's a kind of a bad curve right here. So about the best way to sand it would be just to take some paper and fold it on itself, and then just use your hand and go back and forth in this kind of motion. You don't want to do this, but back and forth on that curve. Let's see. So got just a slight curve. So I just have painted the etching primer back on, so I'm gonna let that dry, and then we'll give it two or three more coats of primer. All right, everybody, I got the final coats of primer on yesterday, 3 coats. And so it's good and dry today, and we're going to get ready to do some wet sanding. Had one little imperfection right here, but I think I can sand that out. It almost feels like a little fiber. But overall, it looks pretty straight. I've got to take my drill bit, and I've got to run through these holes. Open these holes back up. I want to do that before I put the epoxy on. But yeah, just all looks pretty good. So today I'm going to be wet sanding with 400. I see you can definitely tell I didn't do too good a job right in here. May be an issue. I didn't get a good even sand over this. When I sanded the other down, I didn't get it smooth, so that may be a problem. I don't know yet. I will have to really try to smooth that edge out. But anyway, 400 grit wet, and then we'll be ready for some epoxy. And when we do that, we're going to do this panel, we're going to do this panel, and hopefully we'll be able to do the bed floor. It's not near as windy today. Today would be an excellent day to do this bed floor. So I may do that first. First I got to clean it, scuff it up, and if it still ain't bad windy, we'll go ahead and spray that this evening. Alright, after several hours, I got this thing ready to paint, spray the sealer on. What I did is I went over it with 80 grit on my little orbital, my little jitterbug, and then I took some red Scotch-Brite and scuffed it down good just in case I missed anything. And yeah, I think she is ready. I've got some gray epoxy that I bought at the beginning of this project, and then I figured out that I couldn't use gray epoxy on this truck, so that's what I'm going to use on this floor. Get rid of it. So it's been sitting here for about 12 minutes. I want it set for at least 15 minutes to catalyze there. This epoxy, you need to let it sit. It's 80 degrees out, so 15 minutes should be plenty. If it was colder, of course, the longer it would take. But I've got everything ready. I'm just waiting on that now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my finish line gun with it, with the D-cups, disposable cup system. And hopefully this thing will do good. It's getting a little bit breezier At times, right now, it's not bad at all. Just a little bit of breeze. Might see a leaf or two moving. Hopefully it'll stay still, and we'll get this thing sprayed, and I'll bring you back. Alright, 2 coats of gray primer, epoxy primer on here. It's pretty decent. Of course, you're going to have to deal with crap like this, but I don't think it's really going to make that big a difference when we get some bed liner on here. You can see several little dings and dents in here now that this paint's on here, but oh well, it's a bed. It's going to get dinged and dented. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Stay tuned for more.